Hello, students. Today we are going to do Challenge 7. Challenge 7 is where we're going to take a picture, which could be something from your portfolio, something you get from the internet, but we will use one original picture to show the effects of filters inside of Photoshop. Now, at this point, you're probably pretty familiar and used to using or creating a new document. In this case, I've created a letter-sized piece of paper, which is blank, just how I want it, how you want it. Now, we're going to add a few new tools to our repertoire here, the things that we can do in Photoshop. And you probably will be in a situation where you won't be able to see any of this on your computer too until you've turned it on. So I'm going to go through that process first. So number one, we want to turn on rulers. Command R or Control R if you're on a Windows machine. The other option is that we could turn on a grid. Now the purpose of these, and we want show grid. The purpose of these is pretty simple. It's just a nice way to easily organize pictures and whatnot when you're putting something together. Now over here, I've got this handy dandy folder with a bunch of my pics ready to go. And I'm just going to grab one and drag it into the picture. Or sorry, into the document. So you'll see something like this. Basically, you'll see this bounding box, which is the highlighted portion of the picture with the squares, which allows you to resize things. Most importantly, though, we've got the X through the center, which means while it's present, it hasn't been placed. So essentially, it knows that I want to put a picture in there, but how big it actually is yet to be determined. So I'm just going to resize things by clicking and dragging in the corner. Unlike in previous versions of Photoshop, you don't have to hold down Shift. You can just click and drag. And you'll see that I'm naturally just sort of using this grid structure to line things up. Now that I've placed it approximately where I want to, I'm just going to click approve, which is up here, or if I don't like it, I could disapprove or cancel, but I'm going to commit, and you should see something like this. Now, with the movement tool, you could adjust things as much as or as little as you want, but in this case, I want to set up some rulers in here to help organize the other pictures that I'm going to be creating. So in this case, I'm going to start in the center here, and I'm going to click and drag, and that creates a line or a ruler. And in this case, it's snapping pretty much to the borders of the grid. The reason why we want to do this is because we're going to create a bunch of duplicates. So at this point, we're not able to see the whole screen, but now that I move this over, we can. This is our original, so I'm going to rename it by right-clicking on here. There's other ways to do it, but this is just a quick and easy way to show it. And I'm just going to call that one original. Now I'm going to right-click again, and I want to do something called duplicate layer. And essentially this creates a copy of the original file, and you can see it's in the exact same spot and position as the one that I just did. And now I can move it over, and I'm just going to move it to approximate space to the first one that I did, and I'm going to create another ruler here. And essentially this duplicate layer creates a whole version of the same picture in the same place, but after it's in there, it's also on its own layer. So as you can see, I can turn that layer off and on. And essentially I want to do this 5 times in total, so that I have a total of 6 pictures. So I'm going to continue to do that right now. Again, you'll see it's just automatically doing stuff like adding copy 1, copy 2. And in this case, I'm just going to use my keyboard arrow keys to move this one down. I'm holding Shift and using my arrow keys. If I didn't hold Shift, it would still move. It would just move it a lot slower. Okay, and again, placing it approximately where I want it to. Keep in mind, you might change your mind, and I'm also trying to think, I need space to label these afterwards too, so I'm trying to think ahead. And as I get this placed, I'm going to add some more rulers, which just helps guide the next picture in there, make sure everything is lined up. And then I'm going to duplicate again. And this time I'm moving sideways, like so. I could also move this but with the mouse. I just like to do it this way once in a while. Let's do another one. Same idea. Now I'm moving down again. And essentially I'm just trying to balance having enough space above and below so that I could label these. And before I commit it, that looks pretty good. Again, I'm adding these extra rulers just to help keep me organized. Oh, I've already got that there. And this is a nice and easy way to keep your pictures and your different elements organized and lined up in your layout so it looks nice and professional. If everything's a little bit out of order or just a little bit up or a little down or left or right, just doesn't look as good as something that is lined up nicely like this. Okay, so now I've got all 6 of these, including my original, which is this one down up here. And now that I've got these, I'm going to go into show and turn off the grid again, because at this point, I think it's gonna do more distraction away from what I'm trying to do, which is show off the awesomeness of filters. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to my text tool, and I'm gonna write what this is, the original. I'm gonna place it. You'll notice the pink lines there shows your relationship with the center of the original picture and the outside edges of the text here, which again helps you lay things out and make it nice and pleasing. Now, up until this point, we haven't really done a lot in terms of changing things. Now we're going to start using our filters, which are up here, to change things. So you should have seen the video on how to use filters. There's a whole lot of different options here and a couple different ways to do it. For today, I'm just going to start with the filter gallery. And I can see that the last one that I used would have been this one here, stained glass. And of course, like everything, and this is all under texture, there's a couple of different options. I'm just going to play with them, see which one I like the best. And as it said in the how-to video, this is something that is best done by trying out yourself and experimenting with. Once I've selected a filter that I like, I can adjust the details in it by going in here and playing with these sliders, and if you've got your preview on, you should be able to see the changes pretty much immediately. And this will allow you to choose what you like. Yeah, I like these colors. So I'm going to say OK. I want to remember that this one is called stained glass. And then I'm going to label this stained glass. Now, again, I want to line things up again, and if I want to make sure it's perfect, the easiest way to do that is to drag my line down there, and I'm just going to make sure that the top and the bottom of my layout here is matching. This one's a little bit off still, so I'm just going to adjust it so that the line is on the ruler here. Again, you could see by zooming in slight differences in here as well, so I'm just going to adjust this while I'm in here, see if there's any other potential changes. And this is the beauty of these rulers. It just helps organize things, take it from, okay and make it great with a minimum of effort. Okay, so now we're going to go to our next filter. So I'm going to click on this image again. Filter. This time, we'll go back to filter gallery. This time we're going to click on stylize. Oh, there's only one option in here. And by the way, there's a couple different ways to get in here. This is just the one that I'm trying out, and you know what? This is I just wanna show you how to play with this, because I think this is sort of cool. And like many things with art, you're gonna have to decide for yourself what you like and what you don't. I'm gonna press OK on that. I sort of like that creates this sort of deep, moody effect. And glowing edges. Gonna line it up again, like we did with the other ones. And to be consistent, again, dropping that ruler in there. Next, we'll go into this one. Filter gallery, going up to sketch. A lot of different options here. Ooh, this sort of seems neat. Graphic pen, photocopy. This one I like and I've used a lot. It sort of simulates the look of like a camera or a printing press, depending on how you've got it set up, or a comic book style. So I'm going to set it to dot. And let's play with the size. This is actually very similar to how they would have created images for newspapers and magazines back in the 70s. And then I'll play with my contrast, which is my difference between dark and light, until I find something I like. All right, so this one is halftone. So essentially the secret here, or the secret to the sauce, is that you could combine or add a whole bunch of different effects, or create a completely different image just by playing with some filters and finding something that you like. Something may work really well for one particular project and maybe not so well for another one or image, but that's sort of part of the fun. All right, we're almost done here. Go back to the filter gallery. Let's see. Ooh, that one was interesting. So you might like think, you know, if you're doing something that might have something to do with, say, ice or frost, you might think, oh, this sort of looks like a frozen window, or you might think, oh, this looks like something underwater. I don't know. Point is, there's a whole bunch of different options that you can choose. I'm going to go back to this one. I think it's sort of cool. And you can combine them together. Ooh, I like this one. Cool. Just find stuff that you like. Oh, I forgot the name of that one. What was it again? Yeah, and some people, diffuse glow. Some people actually make a living by creating these filter settings and selling them to other people, different artists. And there's actually a lot of different how-to videos on YouTube on how to achieve different specific effects just by doing what I'm doing. And I heartily recommend that you check them out. Okay, last one. Filter gallery. By the way, neural filters are AI run versions. You can play with them, but for the purposes of this particular assignment, I prefer if you just stick with the old-fashioned ones, just so you know what it's like. This is not bad. Dark strokes. Makes a very moody picture. Maybe too moody. There we go. So you can see by using this process, you can create a lot of variety and a lot of different feelings to the same picture, just with a little bit of effort by using your filters and all these other tools. Everything looks nice and lined up. Everything's organized well and labeled properly, which you'll note on the rubric is exactly what I'm looking for. You can see how everything is lined up on the side here. But I think I'm ready to save. So I'm going to save as. Call this Challenge 7 Demo. And I'm going to save it as a PSD on my desktop, maybe. Yeah, let's do downloads. Okay. Then I'm also going to save a copy as a PDF, just because they're easy to read in other kinds of formats or settings, like in a web page. Where are we? PDF. Photoshop PDF. And save. Okay. Yes. All right, now I should be able to go into, oops, not the trash can, sorry. Downloads, and I should be able to see them. So here is my PDF copy and my PSD copy. So either one of these would be good for handing in for your final product. And that is it. Thank you for watching this video.